From vending machines full of processed foods to a school lunch program built on subsidized crops, the U.S. food system is driven to attract and sell junk food to our kids.
1/3 of our children are overweight, and type 2 diabetes has become a childhood disease. There also have been a spike in ADHD rates, rising about 40% in the last decade. So joining us now to tell us more about getting our kids healthy and on the right track is our wellness expert, Kaylin Pearson. Thank you for joining us. This is an important one.
Yeah, you know, we talk all the time about, you know, putting the right fuel into the machine.
Right.
I mean, it really is going to affect us. So what are some of the problems that kids are running into? We just talked about type 2 diabetes, right. ADHD. What are some of the other prevalent problems because of a poor diet with kids?
Well, all kinds of things, but I also, so it is diet, but there's also, I did want to note that there's also like social, environmental factors that go into the food issue as well. But we do have like you mentioned in the intro, we've got a food system that does not subsidize fruits or vegetables, which is outrageous.
Yeah. Seriously.
And so that, I mean, that alone is a huge issue in our country because the crops that are subsidized they're not fuel. They're not necessarily fuel for the body, and definitely not for a growing body, a growing brain. But don't be discouraged, because I really want to teach parents to take their power back, and there is so much work that you can do in your own home if you make the effort to do it.
So it might be obvious, but changing your child's diet makes them healthier, or can make them healthier.
Yes, and I feel like it's the best way to support a growing body, a growing brain. And if you back it up, it makes a lot of sense when you talk about fuel. And also, if we talk about why do we eat? You know, it really, like, if fundamentally, you know, caveman days, it was to sustain the engine.
Right.
But now there is pleasure. I mean, I love food and I like taking pleasure in it.
Yeah.
But I think that is secondary to what we actually put in our body,
Right.
how it makes us feel. You know, is it supporting our brain? Is it supporting our hormones? Is it supporting us for energy? And the reason that we want to feed our kids is for those very reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we want them to have energy to play. We want them to have brain that's functioning at an optimal level so that they can focus, so that they can problem solve.
Yeah. So when we're talking about what we're feeding our kids, what should we be doing? Of course, we've got the cards kind of stacked against us, as we said. So many different factors out there that are not taking care of it. So it really starts with the parents at home. So what should we be putting in our kids' mouths?
Well, to back it up and make it simple, because I think that we live in an over-dramatized world. We like to make everything really hard. And it is when you actually go into a grocery store. You know, I know that there's overwhelm and a lot of people don't know where to start, but you start by feeding them real whole food. And I know that might sound simple, but it really is that simple. But more specifically, we need to be feeding our children complex carbs, which are fruits and veggies, legumes, beans. They need to be getting proteins that are full of amino acids, because amino acids are the building block of proteins. We need to be feeding our kids fat, high quality fat that we've talked
That's
about.
the key.
Good fats.
I mean, their hormones, I mean, kids from the time that they're born to it carries off into obviously adulthood, but there's like a big chunk of time, and we need to be supporting these growing bodies. And kids are, I mean, you could say adults, but you know, we're focused on kids today. They are so deficient in micronutrients, and micronutrients do not exist in packaged and processed food.
Right.
And micronutrients are the things like vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytochemicals, the things that are really going to actually fuel your body.
Right.
So how do we, because I don't want it just to be, hey, I'm going to feed Cannon good. How do we make it so that it's a habit, so that when he grows up, he wants to be healthy?
So eating, honestly, I love that question, because it really is about breaking it down and how you can make a difference. But eating behaviors are learned behaviors. So it's really what you're doing is a huge part of it. So be a good example. Figure out, I know that not everybody is a cook, but figure out like 2 things that you can just rock it out. Introduce yourself and your kids to new foods. Be a good example. have rules about, have expectations, I guess I should say, not rules, about that you are going to try this, because the expectation starts with
Right.
the parents. And if there's so many people out there, parents that are like, my kid is never going to eat that. It's like, they
you
will
try?
they will meet your
Yeah,
expectation.
absolutely. They will meet the expectation. Well, of course, you're going to be back with us tomorrow. We got a
Yes.
big back to school special.
Yes.
You're going to be in the kitchen cooking up some of these things to give us those 1 or 2
We're
standbys.
going to do lunches, school lunches, and
So
we're going to
important.
walk you through how to make it a snap in the morning.
Fantastic.
All
All right,
right.
Kaylin, we'll see you bright and early
Okay.
tomorrow morning. And for a recap on all of this, folks, head over to Casa.com and click on the Style tab. Well, New Mexico